Let's give it a second. We're going to give it about 30 seconds and we will see if everybody can see me and hear me. Okay, so far we have one viewer. Here we have 4 or 9. All right, so let's go ahead, guys. Please, if you can see me and if you can hear me, please go ahead and put a plus sign for me in the chat, please. Okay, so please keep in mind I am streaming on 2 different platforms. So I have my cell phone over here, hello guys, and I have my PC on this side. Okay, so my apologies if it looks like I'm not speaking to you. I'm just streaming on 2 different platforms. But everybody can hear me and see me fine. Please go ahead and leave your plus sign in the chat. So hello, guys. It's so great to be back. I am so sorry that I wasn't able to meet you guys a few weeks ago. I got a little bit sick. In my country, in South Africa, we're heading into the winter season. And as we're speaking, it's raining right now. So we're going into our flu season, as you guys know. When it starts getting cold and you still have warm days in between, you can get sick. So my apologies, and it is great to be back. So today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about keeping your students motivated. Times are tough. Times are super duper unique. I want you to tell us, leave your emoticon in the chat, a smiley face, if you have reviewed your goals with students this month. Okay, it's a new month. We have 3 weeks of lessons ahead of us. Have you reviewed your students' goals for the month of May? Okay. Please leave a smiley face in your comment section for me if you have reviewed your students' goals for the month of May. All right. Reviewing these goals are super important to the students' motivation. Okay. And it's also super duper important for you. Okay. So, you know, we're human too. We can also get demotivated and deflated and really uninspired in our lessons, especially if you've been teaching for many, many years. So it's up to you to motivate yourself and at the same time motivate your students, especially if they are students that have been with you for a very, very, very long time. Okay, so let's get started. All right. So we all know that times are extremely tough. We're going through a pandemic much longer than we anticipated. And we know that the current times are even more competitive than it was in the past. All right. We have a lot of things that is working against us. You know, we have the currency that is very, very poor, the cost of lessons. You know, do we really understand the cost of lessons for our students? All right. There's a reason why some students are not continuing lessons because of affordability. The pandemic has affected their wallets. But we need to kind of take advantage of English, right? We have to take advantage of English and remind them why it's important to continue their studies and that continuing learning English is an investment in their future. So rather spend less money on new clothes or going out or traveling and invest in your future. We know that English is a lifelong skill in order to master it, if they even master it at all. Mastering a language is extremely difficult to do. Okay, so as I said, we all know that times are tough. The current time is even more competitive than it ever was. Okay, so we have to keep our students motivated and we have to keep ourselves challenged as well. And it's all part of the teacher and student life cycle. Yes, there's a teacher and student life cycle and lifespan, all right? Students who are motivated the right way will be students for life, in my opinion, or students for many, many years. They will stay students for many, many years if you motivate them and if you challenge them long enough. Okay. So we are currently living in the new normal where students are valuing their earnings more than ever. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely, I'm paying more attention to where I'm spending my money. I am more nervous about my salary. Okay. So spending miscellaneous money on extra activities is, it's not easy for students today. Okay. So miscellaneous could also be English lessons. Okay. It's that extra expense that students have that they don't always, want to spend money on. They want to treat themselves every once in a while. Okay. So it's no longer a priority for most students or their companies that they work for, even if they are working in global companies that require English for their jobs. So it's up to us to create value and to motivate the students. All right. So motivation and value, all of that goes hand in hand. Send me a thumbs up if you agree. Thumbs down if you disagree. And it's okay to disagree with me. Okay. This is just my experience. So how would we motivate our students? How do we get there? So it's always a good idea to review your students' goals. Always be reviewing your students' goals because they can change. And you especially have to review the students' goals when their balance is starting to run low. Okay, otherwise you're going to have that really awkward conversation when the balance is zero. And nobody wants to be reminding students saying, hey, Dima, it's time to update your balance. You want them to update their balance before it reaches zero. And we do this by reviewing their goals before we reach the zero balance. Okay, so this way you can identify the weaknesses in their language learning process. Okay, point out the weaknesses and implement an action plan for the next month or for the next 4 weeks before the balance starts going to zero. Okay, so and then your teacher-student life cycle starts all over again. So every time the balance is updated or is about to go to zero, this cycle starts again. You always have to give them a reason to continue to study. So when you review their goals, you review their strengths, you review their weaknesses. You can focus on one weakness for this month, and then you reevaluate it. Okay, so we improved 30% of this weakness. Now for the next 4 weeks, we're going to take that 30% to 60%. Okay, you can't fix a weakness 4 weeks at a time. It's a long-term process, okay? And how is the student going to know that you're telling the truth? By reviewing what you have done every 4 weeks. Do they really understand what they learned? I've noticed that I have really strong students who I would consider upper intermediate or advanced level, okay? They've been with me for 4 years. 4 years, a very long time. But when I ask them 2 weeks later, what does this word mean? What does that word mean? They have absolutely no clue what I'm speaking about. So they're wasting their money. They're wasting their time because they can't remember anything that they learned 2 weeks ago. So what's the point of the lessons? So this is a weakness. So now you have to give them an action plan and be like, hey, so Lucy, you've had this lesson before, but you can't remember any of the new words that you've learned. So we can't really continue on to a new, more exciting topic until you've actually learned and mastered what we've learned today or this week. So you need to slow down your lessons. Sometimes the student can appear bored and like they know it all and that they understand it today, and they might understand it today. But can they remember it the next lesson? So my advice is to not move on to the next topic. Do not move on to the next slide until you know the student is actually understanding and grasping the information. Okay. Sometimes I think we are under the misconception that the student understands, that the student knows, and we move on way too fast, way too soon. Okay. So slow down your lessons. That's very important. Let them see for themselves. Hey, I can remember this. Oh, actually, you know what? I can't even remember what I learned last week. I have a problem. So they need to see the physical results that they're either improving their strengths or improving their weaknesses, or that they're just not doing the work hard enough to improve English. So you can take advantage of the weaknesses of your student, and you can kind of exploit that by showing them, but you still need to be studying, you still need to improve. Okay, so to recap, it's always good to identify the student's weaknesses. Okay, always identify the student's weaknesses so that you can help them improve their weaknesses. Okay, point it out, implement an action plan for the next 4 weeks, and then the teacher and student cycle starts again. And you do this every time when the balance is about to run low. My next point would be is to challenge yourself. Challenge yourself as much as you challenge your students. Okay, we sometimes don't learn new things. We get complacent and easy in our jobs. We don't do as much preparation for our lessons or create unique, fun lessons. Sometimes we rely too much and too heavily on the resource that's given to us. And I think it's fantastic that Skyeng gives us all these amazing resources. But, every once in a while, you need to challenge yourself and your student and create a unique lesson for them. And if that means you need to take 2 hours every couple of weeks and create something unique and special for a specific student, then do that, because it shows that you value them. I have a student, she just got into every international university that she applied to. That includes Australia, New Zealand, the UK, the USA. She got scholarships for every university she applied to. Okay. Why is she still with me today, even though she's reached her goal? Because I customized each lesson according to what she needed. So that meant reviewing the culture of Canada or USA or the UK, doing lessons about the countries. She wasn't sure which country she was going to choose because each country is so unique. And we looked at all the different aspects what the country had to offer. So we learned a lot of slang of that country. We learned about traditions. We learned about culture. We learned about great and awesome things for students to experience. We read up together and wrote essays about the universities in those countries. So we did a lot of work, which was actually her research. And this helped her choose a university or a country that she wants to go to. But at the same time, she was learning English. The purpose was there. The motivation was there, because every time she learned something unique and exciting about a country that she was possibly going to be moving to. So we created value. We created excitement. We had a custom program just for her. It was very personal. It was a very personal experience. And at the end of the day, you build a very close relationship with your students. And for them to just stop their lessons is a very difficult thing for them to do, because you become an integral part in their lives. Okay. I feel sometimes we are so much more than English teachers. We are friends. We are psychiatrists. We are therapists. We are researchers. We're sometimes just there to listen. It happens. It absolutely happens, guys. So remember to not be a robot. Be a person, first of all. Be a human being, first of all. And be there for your students. Think outside the box. If you continue to challenge yourself, create unique experiences for your students, they will thank you for it. They will love you for it. And they will see and feel your passion for English and teaching. And they'll see the dedication that you have for them to improve and to be a part of their journey. And that's how we create value as well. All right. So you can send me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you disagree or agree with anything that I've said. I also want some of you to leave some tips and tricks in the comment section. What are you doing this month? What are you doing this month that is different? That is different to the other months? Are you going to do something different after the May holidays? What have you learned recently that you want to change about your teaching or your teaching style? Okay, very important. Very, very, very important. All right, so this brings me to my next point. Determine why the student needs to master the language. Is it for future opportunities? Is it for better opportunities in their family? As harsh as it sounds, you should take firm advantage of these dreams and these goals. Because, again, you create a lifelong or long-term commitment with the student, okay? Sell them the dream. Sell them the dream, especially if you've experienced this dream yourself. Paint a beautiful picture, a beautiful, fantastic, exciting picture of what their future will look like once they have mastered English, or once they've reached a level of English where they can speak confidently. Confidence is another thing that students can always work on. It's so great to see when a student goes from this and not wanting to speak to sitting up straight. Their body language improves. They're confident in sharing. They have more vocabulary to express themselves more coherently and fluently. It's amazing to see that challenge. But it's important to create this beautiful image of their future once they've mastered English. Use adjectives, describe it, even ask them. A great task that I do with some of my new students is to ask them, so what does your future look like? Can you describe it? If they're too shy to speak about it, ask them to write about it. Ask them to write a little short essay and share what they think their future looks like. Writing is also a way to motivate students, because when they're writing and you review the writing with them, you can see which words they use over and over and over again. You can identify grammar mistakes and frequent grammar mistakes. You can see what needs attention, such as punctuation, word order, sentence structure. So when you give them little assignments like this, again, don't make it a waste of their time. I am not Russian. For those that are asking, I am not Russian. But yes, don't waste our time by giving them silly little homework exercises. Give them exercises and homework that creates value for them, even if that means they come back to us and we review the homework with them so that they can see. People crave human interaction. It's why they have lessons with us and not Duolingo or any other language app. It's why they come to us to spend time with us, because they want the human emotion, the human interaction. Okay, so to recap, determine why the student needs to master the language. Okay, is it for future opportunities? Is it to better their future, increase their salary, to move overseas, immigrate, whatever the reason might be? Take advantage of this dream. Paint a beautiful picture of that for them, what their future will be like once they've mastered English. All right. So this brings me to my next point. Focus on smaller things. Focus on the small things, okay? Sometimes we're so stuck, again, in the routine of teaching what Vimbox has for us, okay? But guys, there's so much more than just what's in Vimbox, okay? Your job is still to teach, okay? Vimbox cannot teach intonation, the meaning of punctuation, and all this little nitty-gritty stuff, okay? Whoops. For some reason, I kicked myself over here. So give me a second. Let me put myself back. All right. So yeah, I want you to focus on the smaller things when it comes to learning English. Very important. Teach things such as intonation, translation, punctuation. I've recently tried something different with some of my students, and I've noticed that they can identify punctuation, but they don't know the name for it, and they don't know exactly when, for example, to use it, such as forward dash. When do they use a comma? When do they use a hyphen? When do they use quotation marks? How do you actually use all of these punctuation together? Sometimes they misunderstand punctuation, and teaching punctuation is actually super important. And you can combine it with teaching intonation. Okay, so those two things actually go very, very well together. And sometimes when I do a punctuation lesson, it's actually quite fun because it's like, wow, it's something that we use every day, and we didn't even realize that we didn't even know the small details about punctuation. So then you also create value, and it's something unique. Intonation, always good to practice. Many students, for example, will read an exclamation mark and they'll let their tone go down instead of up. Or, for example, what does it sound like when somebody's making a statement? When is somebody asking a question? How do you identify that? So all those things that a robot can't teach a student, you should teach. Okay, think creatively, think outside the box. And then something else that you can do is translation. So if you're a Russian English teacher, you have a huge advantage. You can speak Russian and you can speak English. So you can translate. So the topic for today is how to motivate your students. So when you do translation, you can have a Russian text. You can have a Russian text or your whatever text, the native languages of the student. And you can have the student translate the text into English. This is similar to like what you would identify with when you're doing a writing activity. Except with the translation, you can see which words the student commonly mistranslates. For example, he might translate the word which is good into fine. So you can see, does the student translate to maybe more advanced English? Does he use basic English? So he can then see in black and white right there and then where he needs to improve. So do the translation together. So when the student verbally translates a Russian text, please type out the text in English so that you can show exactly which words were translated correctly, and you can give them an improved text as well. This is a very, very great activity to do. This is not available on our platform, but you can do this as an extra activity. I highly recommend it. It's something fun and it's something different for sure. Okay. So again, please go ahead and leave your comments and your suggestions for us in the comment box. Let's move on to our next point. So ask the student what is going on currently in their lives. Sometimes we think that it's good sometimes to just check in with your student and keep that connection or that relationship with them. Is there a work presentation that needs help with? Is he struggling at work if he uses English for work? Create special tasks off of the platform that is uniquely customized to the student, maybe related to their job. You can incorporate writing to assist with fluency and coherence. This can help identify common errors in the overuse of redundant vocabulary. It's important to make yourself available to them about what's going on in their current lives. Are they doing a lot of public speaking? Are they developing a lot of presentations? Ask them, if they're comfortable to share a presentation with you, and help them identify some common issues that they might have in their presentations. Help them prepare, help them practice for the presentation so that they can feel confident within themselves when they're presenting it. Another motto that I live by is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So you have to determine how long your student has been studying English. Okay. Has it been since childhood? Has it been only a few years? Do they struggle with learning and remembering new vocabulary and new English or new rules? If the answer is yes, something needs to change, and urgently. And this is a fantastic card for you to use and take advantage of. Okay? I usually use this card, and my student gets excited to try new ways of studying the language. All right. So I asked them, so how have you been learning vocabulary for the last 10 years? No, I watch series. Do you watch the series 100% in English? Or do you watch it in Russian and have the English translation at the bottom? And in most cases, the answer is yes. And then I cringe because yes, although it is a fantastic way maybe to learn, your brain is doing 10 million things at the same time. It's listening to sound, it's looking at the actors, it's looking at the acting, it's hearing Russian, and at the same time you want your brain to read English. Of course, it's not going to speed the process of learning English. Of course, you're not going to remember half of what's happening, first of all, in the movie or the new things that you've learned in English. You're going to have to pause and stop and write down new words. It's not a productive way of learning English. And when I explain this to them, they're like, oh, wait, well, this makes sense. I have Russian here and English here, and this is happening and that is happening. And your brain is like, too much, too much, too much. It's not really comprehending what it's looking at. Okay? So the definition of insanity, sorry, guys, I do have dogs. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So why has my English not improved in the last 10 years? Well, you need to change the way you're learning English. So let us help you do that, okay? That is a fantastic card to use. And then you can get this student really excited to study the language again. Remember that no two students are exactly the same. Therefore, it's up to you to make your lessons engaging and stimulating. Otherwise, you might find that zero balance and low motivation situation. So I can't stress this enough. Revise, 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 revise. Revise your students' goals every month and work out a new action plan. Okay? A new action plan every time. And show them the results of their hard work. Show them where they are lacking. Show them where they have improved. But also, obviously, more show them where they can improve so that they feel motivated to continue studying. My next point is to make yourself more available than ever before, guys. Offer to help offline, okay? Times are competitive. Read those essays. Help improve your students' essays. Help with their presentations. Listen to their recordings. Write proper feedback. Yes, we don't always write feedback, but we should actually write feedback. So every once in a while, maybe once a month, write some feedback, keep some notes on their development. You can give them verbal feedback, but sometimes a student likes to sit and read on black and white. What's your true written assessment about them? Okay. So write proper feedback, which includes vocabulary with the definitions. Pronunciation as well, which includes the word and how to pronounce it. Give a review on their grammar use. You can write down 3 sentences they say and correct it for them. And they must practice it, for example, as homework. So you can say, you said this, blah, blah, blah. Better, say it like this, or correct way to say it. Blah, 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 okay? Then you can also review their fluency and their coherence and always add a conclusion, and then you can give a recommendation with that conclusion for what your action plan is for the next 4 or 8 weeks, okay? That's my other point. So every 4 lessons, you may also review all the new words and expressions that you have learned with the student. So it's important to check for understanding before moving on to the next topic or next lesson. Otherwise, they're wasting their time. And then my last point for today, before I say goodbye to you guys, is ask them for honest feedback, okay? Ask them what they dislike, what they are struggling with, what do they internally feel they're really struggling with right now. And this will earn their trust and their respect. And ultimately, it will be your secret weapon, is building that connection, building that relationship with them. Okay, so let's do a quick recap before we say goodbye for the day. So we know that times are tough. We know that we have to be competitive, and therefore we have to always adapt and motivate our teacher-student life cycle. All right, we live in the new normal. Students value their money more than ever and have less money to spend on miscellaneous such as English lessons. Okay, so it's up to us to create value, quality lessons, and to motivate our students. So it's always a good idea to challenge yourself, be creative, think outside the box. And it's always a good idea to review your students' goals when you see the balance of their lessons are starting to run low. Maybe they have 3 lessons left, 2 lessons left. Identify their weaknesses, implement an action plan for the future, okay? And then your student life cycle starts again, okay? There should always be something to work on. Learning a language is a lifelong skill. It requires nurturing and a lot of attention. Determine why the student needs to master language. Take advantage of their dreams and paint a beautiful picture for them of what their future will look like. And remember to focus on the smaller things such as translation, intonation, punctuation, things we forget about when we're teaching English, okay? Make yourself available to the student to try new things, okay? Look at their presentations, look at their essays, listen to the recordings, make yourself available, okay? Be there for them. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Determine how long have they been studying English and why have they not seen so much improvement. You can identify what they're doing wrong and you can change and make some changes and see if there's an improvement in their learning strategies. And remember that no 2 students are exactly the same. You have to adapt for each student, okay? Make yourself available, give feedback, verbal and written feedback at least once a month with a definition of new words, with how to pronounce the new words, grammar examples, okay? And remember to review the lessons that you've done before continuing on to the next topic and ask them to give you feedback on how are you doing as a teacher. All right, guys, so we have 30 seconds. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat or in the comment section. If you enjoyed this seminar today or this webinar, please send me a thumbs up. I would appreciate it so much. And so sorry that I didn't see you guys a few weeks ago. And I will see you guys hopefully next time. I hope you guys enjoyed today. I definitely enjoyed preparing it for you. And I really hope that my tips and some of my tricks will help you as much as it has helped me. I've been teaching since 2015. I've lived in many, many different countries, so I know the challenge when it comes to learning a new language myself. Well, I suggest that you get a teacher or get a free talking app where you can practice your English with somebody. The challenge with when you're practicing with somebody else that is also learning English is that you can learn some of their common errors. So it's important to speak with an English teacher and have frequent conversations with them or book conversational lessons with somebody that is native English, because if you speak with another student that's also learning English, you might learn their bad habits and learn the wrong words or the wrong sentence structures or expressions. Okay. So there we go, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.